All right, guys, so we are into week 3 of the NFL season. I can't believe that the NFL season's already like 15% done or something like that. It's kind of weird now that they kind of expanded the season and then the postseason as well has a couple more games. But we are through week 3, and we're just going to go over all of the games that transpired, starting with the Giants and 49ers. Of course, the 49ers won. I think they're my favorite to win the Super Bowl. I don't know about you, but they are a great team with a stacked and very talented roster. Then we have the Colts we have the Colts beating the Ravens because the Colts kicker is like one of the greatest of all time. Justin Tucker does not look like himself. Recently, it's been kind of worrying me because Justin Tucker is probably the best kicker of all time. I think he probably is the best kicker of all time due to statistics and whatnot. But this season, I don't know. Like, it's kind of weird because like Matt Gay, the kicker for the Colts, literally hit like a 53-yarder, 53-yarder, 54-yarder, 53-yarder, or something like that. 4 in a row or something that are more than half the length of the field. It's just crazy that the kickers are now become so much of a crutch for a lot of teams. The farther out that they can kick, obviously, the more valuable they are. It was just interesting to see that Justin Tucker was being beat at his own game in the Colts versus the Ravens. Titans versus Browns. Browns won. Deshaun Watson looks good. I think he looks okay. He doesn't look too bad, but he doesn't look the worst either. I don't think I'm rooting for Deshaun Watson, but I I don't know. It's just interesting to see the Browns continue to. I mean, they're not playing the best in the world, but they are 2-1. Dolphins and Broncos. Dolphins score 70 points on the Broncos. The Broncos are now 0-3, of course, with Russell washed Wilson. The Dolphins scored 70 points. I think I read a statistic. It's like the most points ever scored since like the 1950s or something. That's crazy. That's crazy. Good for the Dolphins. Good for Tua. Good for Tyreek. Good for the other guys that play on that team that scored a lot of touchdowns. Good for the Dolphins. I think I'm forgetting what conferences and what divisions the 49ers and the Dolphins are, but I would not be surprised if we saw them either in a Super Bowl or a conference title game. Patriots versus the Jets. Who watched this game? Bills versus the Commanders. Of course, the Bills won. Falcons and Lions. The Lions beat the Falcons, but who's watching that game? Saints versus the Packers. Who's watching that game? Jordan Love is he's a good quarterback. Jordan Love is a good quarterback. Texans and Jaguars. Who is letting the Jaguars go 1-2? What is this? CJ Stroud should not be this good. He played super well in this past game, but what is going on with the Jaguars? The Jaguars, with the prince that was promised, Trevor Lawrence, what is happening? They need to get things back on track. The most surprising 0-3 team is probably the Vikings. I think the Vikings are a way more talented team than people make them out to be, and so are the Chargers. So it was an interesting game to transpire in Week 3, and I wish I watched this because it seemed like a fun game, 28-24, the Chargers coming out with the victory. I like Justin Herbert. I think the Chargers have a very, very talented roster. They just lost Mike Williams, unfortunately. But it's interesting to see two pretty good quarterbacks in Justin Herbert and Kirk Cousins. I think they're underrated, honestly, two underrated quarterbacks going at it. But the Chargers were able to come out with the victory. Panthers and Seahawks. Why are the Panthers still a NFL team? I have no idea how. Cowboys and Cardinals. Oh my goodness! Wait, I didn't even look at this. How did the Cardinals beat the Cowboys? The Cowboys is supposed to, isn't this supposed to be their year? Isn't the Cowboys? This is supposed to be their year. They win it all. They go to the Super Bowl and win. I guess not. You can't even beat the Cardinals. Bears and Chiefs. Of course, the Chiefs beat up on the Bears. The Bears are just bad. They're the most mediocre team of all time. And with all this Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce stuff, it's just funny that the Chiefs played super well. Steelers and Raiders. Steelers were able to come out with the win. Who is giving the Steelers all of these primetime games? We get Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night, or whatever. What's going on? Do people really enjoy the Steelers that much? last couple handful of games. The Eagles and Buccaneers. The Eagles and Buccaneers with 25-11. That's a scoreagami, baby. Let's go. There's a account on Twitter who is keeping track of all of the combinations of different NFL final scores. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you watch it and you look at the Twitter profile, it goes through like there's been this many, 7-7 or 7-14 scores or whatever, and then like so that's a really common score, final score for both of the teams in an NFL game, but there's only a certain amount of more. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it. The Eagles and Buccaneers with a 25-11 score. 25-11 has never been a final score in an NFL game ever until today, or until when the game transpired. Same thing with the Broncos and Dolphins. 20-70 has never been a final score of an NFL game since this week. Like, I think that's just like super interesting. So we got two scoreagamis in the last in the last couple of days. In 1 week, we got two scoreagamis, which is super, super rare, and it's cool to see that that absolutely improbable chance of something like that happening is pretty cool. And the Bengals beating the Rams. The Rams just are having the worst Super Bowl hangover of all time, but it's great to see the Bengals go 1-2. If the Bengals went 0-3, that would have not been a good look on the Bengals nor Joe Burrow. And the Rams are just bad. I don't understand why we have this sort of delusion that the Rams they sold everything. They sold everything for one Super Bowl ring, and then now 2 years, 3 years later, how is it actually working out for them? I mean, they got a ring. Odell Beckham Jr. got a ring. Matthew Stafford got a ring. Aaron Donald got a ring. But now we're looking at them. They're 1-2. It's like, okay, you guys should be way better than you are right now. That's been NFL Weekly 3. I've been enjoying doing this. I've never been following the NFL as much as I have been until this season. So I'm really excited to just keep on going with Week 4 and then continue on with the rest of the season. It's pretty fun to just talk about different teams. Like I could not care less about the Falcons and Lions. I don't even think I could tell you a single player from either of those teams, but I like talking about my Ravens. I like talking about the 49ers. I like talking about the Bengals in the AFC North, the Chargers, Vikings, Steelers, Chiefs, Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift. It's a lot of fun. Thank you guys so much for listening, watching, having fun with me, and I will talk to you guys in the next YouTube video, podcast episode. Don't matter. I'm doing it. Go watch it. Go listen. Thank you very much.